My name's Barney Warf. I'm a professor of geography in the University of Kansas, and much of my research is about the impacts of telecommunications on space. I'm interested in how companies use different types of telecommunication systems to move clerical functions and data entry services to parts of the developing world. And I'm also very interested in the geography of the internet. That includes things like who has access to the internet, where it's changing, how many people are coming online, government attempts to regulate it. My paper was an overview of the geographies of censorship of the internet, and it was published in a journal called GeoJournal. So the paper is an examination of geographic differences in the level of severity of censorship and the scope of censorship around the world. Countries that are more globalized and have lots of interactions with the world economy tend to have less censorship than countries that are hermetically sealed off from the world economy. Now, the great exception to that pattern is China, which is rapidly globalizing but trying to censor the internet simultaneously. But if we look at many countries that are highly globalized, such as, say, Singapore, they've gradually relaxed much of their internet censorship. Or South Korea is a similar example. Even some of the Arab states, Bahrain, for example, has become much less concerned with internet censorship. And of course, in much of Western Europe and North America and Japan and Australia and New Zealand, internet censorship is either non-existent or minimal. The ostensible reasons for internet censorship typically include things like protecting public morality, protecting the public from things like pornography or internet gambling. But the real reasons for internet censorship often have very little to do with that. It typically involves governments' attempts to suppress freedom of speech. Many governments are terrified of the alternative voices that the internet offers and the opportunity to bypass government control of the mainstream media. Many governments trot out national security, typically very vaguely defined, as a basis for internet censorship. But the reality is much more an interest in curtailing civil liberties and trying to channel the appropriate flows of information to their own publics. Well, governments have an array of tools at their disposal for censoring the internet. This includes everything from blocking access to particular IP addresses and therefore blocking access to a particular website, to monitoring chat rooms and tapping email and surveillance. In some countries such as China, there are people who monitor the screens of users. There are filtering programs. They can redirect people to proxy servers. They can ask the internet service providers to monitor who's using the internet and for what purposes. Perhaps one of the least appreciated forms of censorship is self-censorship. Many people are intimidated by government intervention in this regard, understandably. I want to argue that despite government attempts to curtail access to the internet in different parts of the world, occasionally even in countries like the United States, by and large, I think that the growth of the internet has given voice to many people who otherwise would have remained invisible.